Hello friends and welcome to my YouTube channel Simply Stocks, and today I'm going to talk about Apollo Tricot Tubes, a very interesting small cap company that is going down with circuits. So let's understand what the company does and whether you should invest in the company or not. Let's get started. First of all, a disclaimer that this is not a stock recommendation. People taking any position into any share that I talk about should do that with their own due diligence and research. And I'm not in favor or against any company that I talk about. Before I discuss about Apollo Tricot Tubes, here a small reminder that I'm on Patreon as well, and kindly support me through Patreon so that I can bring in more and better videos on YouTube. And once I'll have 100 Patreons, I'll definitely make a you can say an education course of 16 weeks on how to pick stocks and invest into different kinds of stock. So kindly help me through Patreon and build this forum even bigger. Now about Apollo Tricot. This was established in 1983 and they provide steel pipes and tubes. And they have a number of brands like Apollo, Chalk Hut, Apollo, Elegant, Signature, Wondor, and Steel Plank. The market cap of the company is around now 850 crores. When I made this video, it was around 1100 crores. It does not pay dividend and it is gaining traction over wood assemblers. So rather than picking wood assemblers, so people are going for these steel products or steel plank products for their homes and offices. And the different kinds of brands like Apollo Chocolate is really doing well in the urban areas. If we look at the financials of the company, then the sales have been appreciably gone up from around 50 lakh to 228 crores, and that has been magnificent. And the profit growth has been over 3,500% from 50 lakh to around, you could say, around 18 crores. Low debt, high promoter holding, but low institutional push. So institutional holding is very less, whereas promoter holding is good. The return on equity is 2.2%, but the operating profit margin is around 12%. It was a pretty small company a year back and has risen a lot over the last 1 year. If we look at the performance of the stock has moved sharply post the Q3 numbers, and Prabhudas Leeladhar has a buy rating on the stock with a target of 498. The stock is trading at around 250 260 rupees. It has corrected decently from its highs of 500 rupees, as we have seen, and trading at 35 times earnings at the moment. In fact, it has fallen even more and is trading at less than 30 times earnings, with the kind of fall we are seeing every day. Decent profit growth of over 30% expected in the next 3 years. That has been stated by Prabhudas Leeladhar, but it's going to be hit by this coronavirus outbreak and the shutdown that has taken place across India. So there are a number of issues that are linked with this kind of a business. The economy will hurt the projection, first of all. So I'll talk about the COVID scare that is currently taking place, but the economy as a whole, with 4% growth before this scare of the pandemic, was also struggling, and due to which I do not see Apollo Tricot Tubes do really well, because if there is less constructions of offices and private spaces, then public and private spaces, then there is will be less usage of such tubes and planks, etc. So I do not see that even after the virus scare subsides, that the company would produce really good numbers at least for another couple of quarters. So the next 2-3 quarters could be a washout for the company. Company is not paying dividends is also a problem, because the company has come out with very good numbers this year and should have come up with any sort of dividend for the investors. The market cap of the company is now close to 900 crores, 880 crores, which is extremely less, and people are very wary of such companies, very wary of small cap companies. They are not in fashion, and only few small cap companies which are very good in potential or monopoly are doing well. Uh, and the biggest issue is now coronavirus. The problem with COVID-19 that has taken place in India is the outbreak. It is expected, and people are fearful that it could happen in India in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and this could be very scary for the Indian uh, diaspora, and that is why there has been a complete lockdown across the states, across 22 states across India, and it has been prevalent since Sunday, and things could get really bad in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So yes, there is a lockdown till 31st of March, but we could see this extend to at least till 15th of April or so. And so if we take out 3 weeks of business, then you could probably say goodbye to June quarter numbers as well, because people will not go ahead and buy things for their offices or buildings, but they'll go out to buy essential things. And if we look at the scenario, there's a complete shutdown of the railway network, complete shutdown of the road network. So raw material sourcing would be difficult, and there have been a complete shutdown of offices. So no offices are open, whether private or public, and only for essential commodities like you can say pharmacy or hospitals are open. So in this scenario, it looks very difficult for Apollo Trichor to come up with very good numbers. This could be a total washout of the June quarter. If April goes bad, then the June quarter would be really bad. So you have to take that into consideration, and that's why the stock is falling in circuits. Apart from that, there is low institutional investment, high promoter holding, but very low institutional investment and high public holding. And now this is a worry, because although that's why probably the stock has not fallen that much, because the stocks with high institutional investments have really gone got beaten around, and these stocks have been spared a bit. But then you have to take into consideration that if FIIs do not or DIIs do not get into a particular stock, then you won't see the kind of rampant rise that you would see in other stocks, other marquee names in the mid and large caps sector whenever the recovery comes in. So there would be a steep fall because of the kind of numbers that the company would produce, because of the kind of depressed numbers that the company would produce because of COVID-19 outbreak. And add to that that there will not be a steep rise when the recovery happens, and the rise would take place in stocks in which FIIs would come back into. So these things have to be taken into consideration. It is a competitive business, and the business environment is competitive. They are continuously competing with wooden products, or people or companies that produce wood products. And these wood products produced by these companies are more economically viable for you can say consumers, compared to these stylish products produced by this steel company. So that has to be taken into consideration as well. And above all, economy needs to perform well for this company or this stock to do well. And we are staring at 4%. Now we are staring at less than 2% growth, probably till June. So that has to be also understood. If you look at the technicals of the company, then the 100 EMA is at 334, and there is strong support at around 250 levels. The next support that comes in, it is around 180 levels. So it is safe to say that we are headed towards 170 180 region. Current market scenario is not great to add on to the stock. You have to take that into effect as well. Uh, big up move is only expected above the 280 290 region, not 1080 but 280 rupee region. 52-week high is at 500 rupees, and it can still correct easily 10-15% from these levels. So what needs to be done? Buy but analyze numbers quarterly. So I would suggest and avoid at the moment. Do an SIP, but wait for at least a year for these things to come back. Only average when it goes up of your buy price, and this is extremely important. So you buy at 250 and wait for 300 levels to buy more. Otherwise, wait for the decline to end to get into the stock. So this was my video on Apollo Tricot tubes. Please like and subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you can get my videos straight away when I post it. Thanks a lot for watching.